Hello guys. Okay, I'm back for chapter 18. So Luke 18 verse 1. And it says, "And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to be faint." And so, according to the Bible app on my phone, that means we're supposed to always pray and to never give up. And as we talk to our friends every day, we talk to our families every day, talk to Jesus, talk to God every day as well, through prayer. Always pray. Don't stop praying. Prayer is powerful. Pray through the hard times, the good times. Pray, pray, pray. Luke 18, or chapter 18, verses 2 through 8. Jesus is sharing a parable to the people surrounding him. And the parable is regarding a self-centered judge who had no regard for people and did not fear God. And then also in the story was a widow. This widow would come to the judge every day asking for justice. She would... Sorry, I lost my place. She would come every day asking the judge for justice, and eventually the judge helped the widow. She was so persistent that her persistence paid off, because he eventually helped her after a while. So this parable is saying, be persistent in your prayer. God will answer in his own time, and it's his perfect timing. Don't give up. God will bring you justice, like he brought the widow justice, especially if you're being mistreated. So, stay faithful, be persistent, keep praying, and God will answer your prayers. Now, when it comes to answering your prayers, it might not necessarily be the answer you want, but it's still an answer. So a lot of people think because they didn't get the answer they want that he never answered and he doesn't really listen, and they lose faith. But the thing was, he answered you, it just wasn't what you wanted. And he answered you in the way you needed. So be careful of that. Don't find yourself in that kind of hole. So Luke 18 verse 9. "And he spake this parable unto certain which trusted in themselves that they were righteous, and despised others." And in this parable, he's talking about people who think that they are better than others because they are more religious. Jesus says that this is not the right attitude to have. We should not look down on others, but instead recognize that we all need God's mercy. The parable Jesus spoke of was about two men who went to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee, one was a publican, which was a tax collector. The Pharisee prayed about himself and how good he was, and look at all these things I've done for you, Jesus. And he was saying, hey, look, I'm not like this person. I'm not a sinner. I'm not like the tax collector. I've done all these things. He praised himself and prayed about, oh, Jesus, look, I fasted twice this week, and I gave all these tithings to the church. Like, look how good I am. And the tax collector, on the other hand, the publican, prayed asking for forgiveness. He said, look, Jesus, I'm a sinner. Please forgive me. Please show mercy on me. And because of this, in Luke 18, verse 14, Jesus says, "I tell you this, the man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbled himself shall be exalted." So basically, according to the Bible app on my phone, this means that God likes humility. He thinks humility is very important. He won't honor someone who thinks himself is better than others. And if you're humble, God will lift you up. And so, kind of like a personal speak to this. So when you talking about thinking about how you're better than others, I have to admit, I will confess that I sometimes do this. I will think, oh well, I never got into drugs. I never had a drinking problem. Like, I was smart enough to stay away from that stuff. I never did anything bad. I didn't get in trouble with the law, that kind of thing. Like, kind of like, shame on you, who does, right? And so in that kind of aspect, I guess I hold myself up higher than others, and I shouldn't, but I will confess that, yes, I do that. So it's something I have to work on, because I guess that's part of the thing I have trouble with, because you hear all these people at church who, I've overcome addiction. The Lord has helped me overcome addiction. I've overcome drug addiction, alcohol addiction. I was violent and abusive, and I went to jail for it, and I found Jesus in jail, and now I'm a better person. All those kind of things, and I'm sitting here like, I never really got into drinking because I didn't like the taste or the smell of it, couldn't stand it, so I didn't party, didn't drink. I wasn't ever gonna touch drugs. I don't even like taking Tylenol or the prescription drugs I have to take. I hate it, but I do it because don't want to die. But anyway, I didn't like smoking. I smoked for a weekend when I was in high school, got sicker than a dog, and never touched the stuff again. I just, I also have a very addictive personality, to be honest with you. There's kind of no gray area with me. It's either black or white, and I know that's not the best attitude or kind of personality to have, but I'm just being honest. I do show compassion to others. I do that, but I'm just saying, like, candy, for instance. Just bought this bag of Cinnamon Bears at the store today. Now, when I open it, talk about addictive personality, or addictive, whatever you want to call it. Am I just gonna eat a couple? Oh, nay. I'm not just gonna eat a couple. I can't say I'll polish off the whole bag because it's Cinnamon Bears, and, it does get a little hot, at least for me. But I'm saying I won't just have a couple and move on. I'll eat quite a bit, and it's because I guess I don't have the willpower, or I just, like a bag of chips, open a bag of chips. If I don't force myself to stop, I could eat the whole damn bag of chips. I guess this is why I never got into drugs or alcohol, because I'd probably be dead right now, because it's all or nothing with me sometimes on certain things. So, anyway, just being honest, just letting it all out. But, so yeah, and I guess part of the reason I never got into that stuff was because when I was in middle school, I prayed, and I could literally feel a difference. Like, I knew I was forgiven, and I felt like a different person. And ever since then, I just knew that these things were wrong, and I had no desire whatsoever to do any of it. I mean, yes, have I tried some things, but I tried it and was like, yeah, I don't know what all the fuss is about, because this shit sucks, that kind of stuff. So I guess I never understood how one could get addicted to some of those things, because I guess it was so easy for me not to. So I guess I don't have an understanding of that, but I don't know. Just sharing my little things, but yeah, that's something I definitely have to work on, is that sometimes I do think I'm better than others, and I need to cool my jets and be more humble. So I will admit that. So anyway, tomorrow more of Luke 18.